Cake mixes are great for beginners and very convenient for times you'd like to make a quick dessert or for a forgotten birthday or holiday. I use cake mixes often, but I always buy the same brand, and I always add a few ingredients to make them taste more like a homemade cake. I recently spoke to someone who swears by a different brand than I do, and I wondered if there really is a difference. I tried the 3 most popular brands in America to see which one really is the best. Welcome back to my kitchen, or if you're new here, my name is Stephanie, and this is Ginger Snap Kitchen. I baked Duncan Hines Perfectly Moist, Pillsbury's Moist Supreme, and Betty Crocker's Super Moist. I started with the Duncan Hines Perfectly Moist Devil's Food Cake Mix. This cake mix called for 3 large eggs, half a cup of oil, and a cup of water. In a large bowl, I mixed all the ingredients together for precisely 2 minutes. After 2 minutes, I transferred the batter to a 9-inch pan sprayed with cooking spray as recommended by the directions on the box. I tapped it on the counter 4 times to remove any air bubbles. Then I baked it in a 350-degree oven for 24 minutes until a toothpick inserted in the center came out clean. This cake did not stick to the pan and came out very cleanly. It baked evenly, but it had noticeable doming. It was moist, fluffy, and not too sweet, and had enough chocolate flavor to be fully enjoyed without frosting. Next, I made the Pillsbury Moist Supreme. This cake also called for 3 eggs, half a cup of oil, and a cup of water. I mixed those ingredients together in a large bowl for precisely 2 minutes. The directions on this cake were a bit different, and I added a layer of flour to the pan after it was sprayed. I baked this cake for 23 minutes before it passed the toothpick test. As with all the cakes, I allowed it to cool in the pan for 15 minutes, then I removed it from the pan, transferred it to a wire rack, and allowed it to cool completely. Once it was fully baked, I easily removed it from the pan in one piece. It baked a bit unevenly, with dry edges, but it did have a flat top. It was sweeter than the first, had a nice chocolate flavor, but it wasn't great without frosting. Finally, I made the Betty Crocker Super Moist Cake. This mix called for 3 large eggs, half a cup of oil, and 1 1/4 cups of water, which was a 1/4 cup more than the other 2. Once again, I mixed the ingredients together by hand for 2 minutes. The batter was not as thick as the others, likely because of the added water. I prepared my pan again with nonstick cooking spray. Transferred the batter to the pan, tapped it on the counter a few times, then moved it to a 350-degree oven. This cake ended up baking for 23 minutes. Then I followed the same cooling process before removing it to a wire rack. This cake was quite moist and had a soft, fluffy texture. It baked evenly but domed much more than the other 2, which would require significant trimming if I were going to stack multiple layers. It was only slightly sweet, and I was surprised by how little chocolate flavor it had. It was, in fact, quite bland. This test was a real eye-opener. Chocolate cake should, at the very least, offer a moderate chocolate flavor. Duncan Hines had the best flavor of all 3. It provided a noticeable chocolate flavor without being too sweet. It was pleasantly moist throughout and baked evenly, but did have some noticeable doming. Pillsbury also had good flavor, but it was a bit dry around the edges. It was the least domed of all 3, but the edges were slightly dry and crumbly. The Betty Crocker cake was a big disappointment and was previously my favorite of all 3. While it is light and fluffy, it had very little chocolate flavor and was pointless to eat it without frosting. So in my opinion, the Duncan Hines cake is the winner, closely followed by Pillsbury, and Betty Crocker is a very distant 3rd place. I hope you enjoyed this and learned as much as I did. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up, and I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel. If you have any ideas for other products you'd like to see me test, let me know in the comments section below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.